Have you ever had to wait and wait and wait and wait on God or people to change? Have you ever felt like giving up because things just weren't getting any better? Long suffering isn't a word that we use every day, but it is a powerful fruit of the Spirit. It means patience under pressure. It's not just waiting quietly in line. It's about enduring with grace when life gets hard, when people mistreat you. Galatians chapter 5, verses 22 and 23 tells us this: "But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against such there is no law." Today, let's unlock the meaning of long-suffering by looking at its source, its strength, and its spread, and how this rare fruit can transform our walk with God and our relationship with others. First, we notice the source of long-suffering: God's patience toward us. Before we talk about being patient with others, we need to recognize how patient God has been with us. Peter writes in 2 Peter 3 and verse 9, "The Lord is not slack concerning his promise, as some men count slackness, but is long-suffering to usward, not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to repentance." And now think about that for a second. God has every right to be done with us, to forget about us, move on, and do something else. But instead, he gives us time. He bears with our failures. He's patient with our progress. As a matter of fact, the word long-suffering comes from a Greek word, markathuo. I can't pronounce that correctly, but it literally means long-tempered. You see that thuma or thuo at the end? That means temperature. It describes someone who doesn't explode in anger, but instead holds back, choosing grace over wrath. Now that's what God does with us. If the Spirit of God is working in us, we will learn to extend that same kind of patience toward others. Second, we notice the strength of long-suffering, enduring through pain. One of the best biblical examples of long-suffering, it has to be Job. He lost everything: his health, his family, his livelihood, his children, you name it, Job lost it. But even through all of that, he never cursed God. James tells us in James chapter 5, verses 10 and 11, it says, "Take the prophets who spoke in the name of the Lord as an example of suffering and patience." Then he goes on to say, "You have heard of the perseverance," that's the same idea, long suffering, of Job, "and you've seen the end that was intended by the Lord." You see, when we consider Job and his story, it shows us that long suffering, that isn't weakness, that's actually strength. It's refusing to give up on God even when life gets very, very hard. Hebrews 6 and verse 12 urges us to imitate those who through faith and patience inherit the promises. That word there for patience is exactly the same idea as long suffering. It takes strength to wait for healing. It takes strength to love someone who keeps hurting you. And it takes strength to stay faithful when prayers seem to go unanswered. But that's the Spirit of God working in us, giving us divine power to endure with grace. Now, third, we notice the spread of long-suffering, living patiently with others. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 1 and 2 says this: "But we are to walk worthy of our calling with which we were called, with all lowliness and gentleness," watch these words, "with long-suffering, bearing with one another in love." Long-suffering shows up in relationships. It means we don't snap when someone irritates us. It means we forgive that same person more than once. It means we don't demand instant change in others, but we walk patiently with them. Now think of Jesus. How many times did his disciples miss the point? How many times did they argue who was the greatest or fall asleep when he needed them? And yet, he was long-suffering. He taught them, he forgave them, and he stayed with them. Colossians 3:12 and 13 tells us this: "Put on kindness, humility, meekness, long-suffering, bearing with one another and forgiving one another. Are you short-tempered, quick to judge, easily offended? Let the Spirit of God grow this fruit in you. Now, as we reflect, the source of long-suffering is God's patience with us. He waits for us so that we can learn to wait with grace. The strength of long-suffering is seen in how we endure trials. Just like Job, we trust God's plan and we know it's worth waiting for. The spread of long-suffering, it's seen in our relationships. We bear with one another just as Christ bears with us. You see, long-suffering isn't just putting up with hardship. It's choosing love, patience, and endurance again and again and again, even when it's hard. And here's the good news. You don't have to muster this fruit up on your own. It's the fruit of the Spirit, and the Spirit is ready to produce it in you now.